Hello, my fellow creative friend. Welcome to Critique Corner. My name is Molly Jakes, and in this series, I give you folks at home professional portfolio reviews. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a closer look at the work of Sonia Designs, a hand letterer and illustrator, and we're gonna give her a little bit of feedback on her portfolio. The good things, the things that could be better, all the stuff. So, if you are interested in having your portfolio reviewed, go ahead, click the link in the description below to submit your work. All right, let's get started. Okay, if you are brand new here, welcome. Make sure you go ahead, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment. Just hang out for a little bit and figure out, are you into my vibe? Are you into what's going on in this channel? And if you are, stick around and let me know. That is super helpful for me. So in case you missed it in the intro, if you would like for an opportunity to potentially have your portfolio reviewed here on my channel, you can go ahead and click the link in the description below and submit your work there. And if you're worried about it, just don't be worried. Go ahead, check out some of the other portfolio reviews that I've done, and just know that I am not here to bash people. These are professional reviews. I am going to be giving positive criticism that is going to help you just make your portfolio better. And honestly, we can get reviews at any period of time. I can certainly benefit from having a review of my portfolio. So it's you're never at a point where you don't need a review. Okay, so let's dive into Sonia's work. So Sonia is an illustrator and letterer. And I just want to start by saying that Sonia's work is extremely professional. When I jumped into her portfolio and started taking a peek at her work, I was instantly like, this girl, she knows what she's doing. It's beautiful, it's consistent. But a good question that we want to ask in this review is why? Why is it looking professional? Why does it look beautiful? And because that information is going to give her and all of our viewers a better idea of how to build a successful portfolio. And that's why it's so beneficial to take things apart and figure out how things work. It's so important. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna jump on my computer. We're gonna take a look at her Instagram. So Sonia does have an online presence. She has a website. She has her own YouTube channel. She has all these things. But we are not going to be doing a review on the user experience of her brand or anything like that. We're just going to dive into some of her actual pieces of artwork because it gives us more of a narrow review here and just makes it a little bit more easily digestible for you folks and for myself to be able to dive into it. So let's go ahead, let's take a closer look, okay? So, as you can see, Sonia, here she is, lovely Sonia. This is her Instagram. So you can see her bio says she's a YouTuber, she's a hand letterer, she's an illustrator, she uses bright, bold colors. Yes, she totally does, and I love it. I'm all about the bright, bold colors. She tells us how to get a hold of her, perfect, and that she's based in California. She also has her links to all the different stuff that she offers. So Sonia, girl, you are doing it all right. You are doing all the things. I love it. I love your brand presence as is. So, okay, I'm tooting your horn, but I love to toot people's horns when they are doing things that are good. So I just want to show you guys some of her work that she's working on. So you can see I can scroll through really quickly, and right out the gate you can see, okay, she has a style. She has a style that she's working in. Which we don't all need to have a style, like a visual style, but style can embody more than just a technique. Which brings me to how we are going to break apart this portfolio review. So what we are going to do is that we are going to cover a few different aspects of her portfolio. We're going to take a look at what she uses in color, composition, technique, imagery, and repetition. And then we're going to say, okay, how does she use those different things to produce a message and a vibe with her portfolio that is targeting specific clients, right? Because that's what we want to do if we are commercial letterers or illustrators. We want to say, this is my portfolio and these are the clients that I want, and I'm creating this kind of marriage between the two in a very intentional way, okay? So let's start off with color. So Sonia loves to use pinks and blues and greens and yellows, bright, bold colors that have a fun vibe. It's not too stuffy, it's not too dark, it's not too bright in terms of like feeling fluffy or anything like that. Bright, bold colors, and she sticks with color palettes. So as you can see, here we go. Let's take a look at a couple different pieces in the color palettes. So this one right here, her giveaway image. Oh, this is animated. Oh, so cute. So her giveaway image, she has orange, like pale pink, blues, like muted blues, stuff like that. But you can see that she uses all of those colors in other images that she does. So this one, the 10K giveaway, she kind of branded it, it looks like, where she's using the same colors over and over here. So cute, a little animated GIF that she used for this. All the same colors that she's pulling from the same palette to tie the images together. And so when you look at everything that she has laid out, you can see that the images tie together. So it doesn't feel like one random image has all of these different colors or anything like that. And then you can see with even her different palettes, so like take amazing flat lays, get commissions for lettering work, charge more with confidence. Girl, I am all about your message. I'm gonna get to the message later on, but I'm all about it. I love what she's doing here. Oh, found my creative voice. Girl, you have. Okay, charge more. These, let's get back to color. So these all have similar color palettes. Whether or not they have different little pieces of color that are different in each one, they all have like this pale, dusty pink color. They all have this bluish color in all of them. They don't all have a pink. This one just has the pink. And this one has a pink as well. But they have that dusty pink color that ties everything together. So if she's creating like different color palettes with like one color that ties it together, that is something that can tie your portfolio in general together. So if you look at my work, you can say, okay, Molly always uses this color in every piece, but every piece feels a little bit different because the other colors that she uses are a little bit different. Okay. So, and she has the greens, you can see all of these are matching, like the I like hanging out with you, all I want for Christmas is you, and she's pulling all of these colors together so everything feels like it fits, even though she gets to explore with different colors. Okay. Moving along, you can see she's still doing it, still doing all of the colors that are being tied together. So Sonia does a great job with color and tying it all together to make it feel like it's a cohesive portfolio. Okay, let's get into composition. So for composition, Sonia really, she isn't like limited to one sort of compositional style, but something that I've noticed is that a lot of the work, and it could be just because this is Instagram, it feels like the work that she is doing on her Instagram feed is made, it's made specifically for Instagram. So like compositionally, it fits in that square composition. So when I'm scrolling through, even if I like open it up and say this one is square, but even if I open it up and it was like horizontal or vertical, everything crops into a square size. So you can tell she's being mindful of composition and how it reads in the context of Instagram. Which is also an indication like, oh, well, maybe Sonia is wanting to gear her work towards clients who might potentially want to commission her to create Instagram graphics. It's something to think of. So Sonia loves to do centralized compositions. That's kind of like what Instagram is good for, is like these central compositions that if you crop in, you can see everything, right? Like not a lot is cropped out. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I have been sick this whole time. So yucky. Anyways, so she does a lot of like semi-symmetrical and semi-central. So for example, let's take an example. We have her Whole Foods piece that she did. Eat good, feel good. This is kind of like semi-symmetrical and semi-central. So she has the central image right here, which is very symmetrical. We have the woman in the middle of the piece. And then we have the gift card that's right in the center of the piece. And then she's creating asymmetry by varying the fruits and vegetables that are like flying all around. So it kind of creates texture in the piece so it doesn't feel super symmetrical. So something that you get when you're using a ton of symmetry and making the image centered in a piece is that it feels very symbolic to me, very, very strong, less whimsical. And so for this piece, it feels like a little bit more soft and whimsical because it's not like perfectly symmetrical on both sides. Oh, this has a couple images. Oh, cool. Okay, so every time is the best time to drink coffee. Yeah, it is. Cheers to that. I actually really love this piece because it's a little bit different than some of our other ones. It feels very asymmetrical to me, but still, of course, central because all of her stuff seems to be very geared towards Instagram and having it be central, so when you crop it. But she has the figure here, and then she has the big card up in the left-hand corner. And the reason that this composition is great, and I'm hoping she did this on purpose, but if not, that's totally fine. Doing things intuitively is awesome. So compositionally, this is awesome because it's really going on the golden ratio and like the rule of thirds. So she has so with the rule of thirds, there are a variety of things that you want to get in your composition, but you want to aim to get a big item, a medium item, and a small item. So here she's balancing those three things and having 3 objects at a time and then cutting your frame into 3 different pieces. Like that's why it's called rule of threes, the golden ratio. All that stuff is great. And she's done that here. So she has like the really big card and then the smaller figure, the smaller Starbucks logo, and then the way that the image is cut up with these different waves is creating thirds to the plane, right? So she's using that rule of thirds in her composition to create a message. Okay, so without going too much, okay, one more thing with like symmetrical, but not quite. She does a lot of like one image in the center and then creating asymmetry around it. So it feels like grounded right in the center, and then everything else kind of creating a different texture and balance around it. So with this image, she has the figure right in the center, and then all of these other objects around it creating different texture to the composition. And again, she's using rule of thirds. So she has the top section, the middle section, and the bottom section. Beautiful composition. And then the big iMac, balanced by the big figure medium objects being Sonia's studio. This is so cute. The espresso machine, and then smaller items like stuff on her shelf, her little potted plants, and it's creating texture and it's creating hierarchy in the image to have the viewer to lead them around. Okay, so here I'm going to take a peek up at my board. We have color, we have composition. Let's take a peek at her technique. All right, so how the images look, how she creates them, like visually, how do they look? So her technique, I'm assuming that it's digital, that she probably works a lot on her iPad. That's just because of the technique of it. It kind of looks like that. And so if she doesn't work on her iPad, she probably has a technique to mimic that. Her technique, again, is digital. She uses a lot of big, flat shapes, which might be the reason I chose her work because I really love that. I just personally love that. She uses big, flat shapes and then uses texture and values to create depth in her image. So values being how light or dark a color is. So value and color are different. And then texture being like actual texture that's laid on top of the different shapes. So you can see with this image, she has her figure right here, and then she's got texture on the shirt to help it pull it forward a little bit. And then I'm not seeing like any texture on the skin, but then she has a little bit of texture to create shadow, to kind of create on the arm, it creates depth there to feel like it's coming forward, to feel like there's a little bit of some movement going on in this composition with the technique that she's using. And I do want to note on this sort of technique, it's like always popular. Like I want to say, oh, this technique is so hot right now, which it is so hot right now. But this sort of technique, like the big flat shapes, has always been popular for years and years and years and years. And so that's why it never really goes out of style or comes in style. It's like, if you like this sort of technique, you should try it. Like big blank shapes, So on that note, she uses a lot of these big graphic shapes. Let's talk about her figures. She uses a lot of figures in her work, and she uses those big shapes, big flat shapes, right? So there are so many different ways to do this, to like create a figure with big flat shapes. And so hers are very cartoony and whimsical. And that creates a very specific vibe for everything that she's doing. It feels very cartoony and whimsical to me. So this sort of vibe, like the style, the technique, and like the stylization of her drawings, like her actual illustrations. I feel like it caters very well to editorial and advertising. Like both of those things, girl, you are on track if that is the type of client that you are trying to attract, because for a few different reasons. Number one, it's approachable. Having the cartoony type thing, like people see it, it's eye-catching. Number two, it's graphic and extremely legible. So anything with advertising or editorial, the main purpose of it is to catch your attention right out the gate. So if you're walking down, say like, I can't even think right now. If you're walking down a hallway at a grocery store and you walk down the aisle that has all of the magazines, right? If you were to see one of Sonia's illustrations on the cover, it would grab your attention really quickly because of the color, the bright, bold colors, and then the illustrations are easy to read from like across the aisle. It's not, you don't have to like, it's not something that you have to like be invited in and look more closely at, because you can see it from far away. Whereas something, it's like, if you're doing like a storybook illustration, some of those very intricate illustrations work a little bit better for that and not quite as good for, say, something that needs to be really bold and read across the aisle, if that makes sense. So she does really well with that, and I feel like she's attracting the type of clients that she really wants to work with. Let's see here. Okay, repetition. So for Sonia, she is repeating her colors, right? She's pulling all of her colors together through repetition. She is repeating her characters. So like she has a lot of like the same character that she pulls into all of her illustrations. And that's creating this repeating, recognizable, quote unquote, style in her work, right? She has a lot of the same lettering styles. So the lettering styles are pulling together to tell her clients, this is what I do, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm good at. And it's creating her voice, her style, right? And it's not just like one thing all the time. She's pulling all of these different aspects. She's repetitive with her composition, right? When I was talking about she creates all these central images, she does a lot of like solid, grounded central images with asymmetry around them, and that becomes recognizable with her work. Let's see here. Oh, so her message is good. This is one of the most important things. You have to have all of these great things to have a great portfolio. Her message is powerful. It's all about empowering others. She seems like a nice person, like charge more with confidence. I love it. Stay cozy, eat good, feel good. It's all like lighthearted. Nothing feels too Debbie Downer, nothing feels like too heavy. And I like that she's just doing that through all of her work. She's consistent with it. It's not too much one thing or another. It's like her personality throughout the entire portfolio, which is so key when it comes to having a style, a recognizable body of work, which is what you folks at home want, and which is why we're piecing this entire portfolio apart. So she's doing great. What's the message? What's the vibe? Who's her target clients? We kind of went over that. Her target clients, definitely editorial, advertising. That's my 2 cents. It feels like that's kind of where she wants to go with her work. She's done a lot of stuff where, like, not a lot, some stuff I think for Target and Starbucks it was. And so that is like, she probably is either working directly with them or working with an ad agency, because that client, sometimes they will use in-house stuff and sometimes they'll like outsource it. So that's the type of client that she wants, I'm guessing, and her work really caters well to that. Okay, what's her message vibe? We already went over that. Very happy, uplifting, powerful. Bold. She's great with that. Sonia, girl, you are doing an amazing job. I know this was a lot of just me tooting your horn and saying how great you are, but you are great. You are doing amazing things. You are gonna continue to do amazing things with your work. I can see it. I can see your voice starting to come out. I can see your confidence. Like, you know, when you hit that stride and you say, oh, I'm starting to produce work that I like, that I feel like this is my voice. I can see that happening for you and I love it. In terms of what I think that you could do better, this is like a really hard thing to say because you do so many things amazing, but we can all do things better. I love this character that you have that's like this flat character, like this one right here. So I would love to see you figure out that character a little bit more. Like, what does that character look in different contexts, different skin colors, different hair, and incorporate that character or multiple characters into your work, because I think that you can really market that, and that can just be pulled into your creative voice a little bit more. And I know that clients would like to use that, especially for like infographics. If you're creating illustrations on websites or things like that, like I can see that being used as infographics, that little character that you have. I also think that you could create a lot of like graphics of that little character doing different things and then sell that as stock art. I could see that. Alrighty, so Sonia, thank you so much for submitting your work. I hope that you found this portfolio review helpful, insightful, encouraging, all of those things. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who sat here and watched through this. If you liked this video, make sure that you click like. It's really helpful for me. Make sure you leave a comment. Let me know your feedback on Sonia's portfolio, if you feel like she is getting her message across, because that's what we're all striving to do, right? We're striving to say, this is what I'm about, and this is my artwork that is conveying that message. Okay, so lastly, if you want to potentially have your portfolio reviewed here on my channel, go ahead, click the link below and submit your portfolio there. All right, I'll see you next time.